front of me is a Google Pixel 6 Pro, and today I will go over unboxing along with a quick overview of this new phone. So anyway, let's get started with the unboxing. So obviously, as you can see based on the size, this phone does not have a charger included in the box. So yeah, it's a little bit of a shame. And when we flip it over to the back, thank you Google for including these pull tabs right here, because as you can see it is basically like, you know, taped together so it doesn't open up by mistake. So to open up, you do just peel those off, which I think first time I seen it was from Apple, but still, it's a really simple thing, but boy does it feel nice. Now once we unbox this, and here we got basically nothing, so I'm just gonna leave that to the side. Then we get the phone itself. So we just take it out. Looks really nice. Okay. And here we got the charging cable. So it's a Type-C to Type-C, which I don't know if no, never mind. I do like it, considering they also included this thing. Although, to be fair, that doesn't really help, or does it? I'm right now trying to debate if you have a charger without a Type-C port. This cable might be kind of useless to you, and this doesn't really help much. I guess this is a good dongle if you're planning to use some kind of like, I don't know, data transfer to a USB stick or whatever. But other than that, it doesn't really give much use here. So anyway, let's jump to the device itself. So I'm gonna peel that off. Okay, there we go. And boy oh boy, does this screen actually look really nice, even though it's not even on yet. Oh, that is a nice screen to body ratio. This looks just super good. So anyway, let's move on to actual specs of the display. So this is a LP or LTPO AMOLED display with 120 Hz display refresh rate and HDR10+. Now the LTPO is just a fancy way of, I believe, describing that the device has a curved screen. It is curved just ever so slightly, and yep, that's basically what that's what this is supposed to stand for. I'm gonna quickly go through the setup right here, skipping as much as I can just so I can quickly skim through it. Now, while this is going to the setup, or I'm going to the setup, I'm gonna continue with the specs of the screen. So it has an 88.8% screen to body ratio. It actually looks higher than 88% or close to 89. So that's one thing that I will point out. The reason why it on the paper seems a little bit smaller is strictly because the size of the display, which is 6.7 inches. It's a fairly chunky display. This, in terms of size, if I would have to compare it, I think it's basically similar size to something like a Galaxy Note. At least that's kind of how it feels like. It really gives me that Samsung Note vibes. So yeah, I do consider this as a positive though. Anyway, it has 512 pixels per inch. That is because it is rocking a 1440p resolution on this display. So that is also really nice. And I have to say the camera doesn't pick this up, but this display looks just so good. I don't know how to like describe it, but it is one of the, I believe, best displays that I've seen in a while now on a device, and it looks stunning. So yeah, now that I'm finished basically just drooling over this display, we can move over to additional parts of the device. So if we flip it over to the back and just lock it, we will have a triple camera setup, and the main sensor for just taking photos is a 50 megapixel wide sensor. Then we got a 48 megapixel telephoto and 12 megapixels ultra wide. So I'm gonna quickly just grab a little plant right here and see how the photos just come out of it. Now, obviously, this is probably not the most ideal situation, but still you can get a brief look at, I guess, how the camera looks like. Even though probably the best case scenario would be going outside and actually taking photos there and having also something to compare it to. So sorry that I don't have such a thing. So here is the ultra wide. You can actually capture focus. Oh, okay, that's actually nice. I can see it right here. The phone does actually live focus. So when you select an object to focus on, as you can see, it follows it up along. So that is really nice. I guess it's good enough for now. It's not supposed to be like anything super significant right here. So this is a 2x zoom, which looks decent. She looks good, not even decent, but good. Then if we swipe here, we got an ultra wide, which looks like it was a little bit too close to the plant, so it didn't actually focus on it. And then we got just the normal wide sensor, which still looks really nice. Color reproduction right here is really good, obviously, as you would expect from a Pixel. It is a little bit warmer from what I can tell right now, but it's still close enough to reality compared to some other devices that I've tested over the time. This is basically as close as I think it has gotten. Usually they are way too saturated. This seems to be on a toned down side, so nice. Anyway, let's move over to rest of the specs. So at the front, we are looking at a, what is it? Where's my mouse? There we go. We're looking at 11 megapixel ultra wide, or not ultra wide sensor. So it's kind of hard to see it. Still hard to see it. Let's see. Anything in light mode, so I can actually show the sensor. That would be nice. Display. There we go. So now that you can see, we have a hole punch camera right here, right in the middle. And now obviously it's almost not noticeable when you have dark mode on, which is a nice thing, but when you're using light mode, obviously it's going to be a little bit more like noticeable. Though they do a really good job at hiding it right here. When you pull down your notification, as you can see, it still keeps it blacked out at the top, so you can't actually see the camera. So props to them actually going out of the way to trying to like hide it with as much UI tweaking as it's, I guess, possible. So yeah. Anyway, moving out of the cameras into the rest of the device. So this device has 12 gigabytes of RAM and it's running some Google Tensor chip, which from what I've seen, because I haven't actually tested it, it looks to be running really well. Now, obviously there will be a video with like tests on it, Geekbench and stuff like that, and just so you can see the actual numbers on performance on this. But I'm not gonna go really into this right here. And though just from like obviously flicking for a device that is supposedly a flagship, it's obviously performing like one, so there's no stutters of any sorts. The device is running super smoothly, super responsively. The 120 Hz looks really nice because it is enabled by default, so that's good. And in terms of the battery life on this device, we are looking at a little bit over 5000 milliamp hour. Now exact number is 5003. Wait, did I say 3000 milliamp? I meant 5000 if I said 3. So yeah, 5000 milliamp and 3. So like I said, just a little bit over 5K. And in terms of charging, let's see, do we have any kind of info right here? We probably should. So we have fast charging at 30 watts, which is advertised to charge your device halfway in 30 minutes. And we have also wireless charging, which is also fast at 23 watts, which that is actually really fast. Now let me see if I can actually find, I do have a wireless charger on the desk, though it's a little bit off camera, so I'm gonna first try to like locate it. Leave it somewhere like right here. Oh, yep, I actually found it. Okay, let me zoom out the camera just so you can see. So there we go. As you can see, it's not plugged in right now. If I lift it up, you can see that it is not charging at the moment. And if I set it down, there we go, it's charging, and obviously the port for charging is right here. So yeah, it does have wireless charging, and the charger I have right here is fast charger as well. So obviously I'm not gonna really go over charging it right now, but yeah, it's supposedly charges the device at 23 watts, so that's really decent charging speed for a wireless charger. Though I would note that when charging the device through like fast wireless charging, it probably will get really warm. I do charge my phone with this, which is just a Mate 20 Pro, super old device at this point. But yeah, when I slap it right here, it gets really toasty, and at times, at least on my device, I get a pop-up that the device was literally overheating from being wirelessly charged. And the charger itself does get really toasty too. So when, I guess, wireless charging, keep that in mind, that the charger might get really hot. And that is just normal. That's just the way the technology works. So anyway, last thing that I will mention is just the price, and this device comes at around $800. Now, to put that simply, $800 is a just outstanding price for this phone. And when comparing it to other flagships from Samsung, Samsung phones basically appear like absolute trash in this case when comparing just the price tags. Now Samsung does try to pop some additional specs into their devices from time to time, and they have some gimmicks to it. But let's be honest, for just a flagship phone, I'm not going to be looking for experimental features like, I don't know, under display camera that I need to pay premium for, when I can get this for about at least $200 less with basically same specs. There is literally no reason for me to go for that. It would be absolutely stupid to do it. And for that price, this phone basically has no competition. I believe even Xiaomi, which previously was the king of like budget devices that are really good, or maybe not budget, flagships devices at a cheap price. I think this is still cheaper though. I don't quote me on that. I might be actually wrong. I haven't checked what flagships from Xiaomi come exactly at what price nowadays, so it could be that they are basically the same price, or I expect them to be more expensive though. But yeah, for the price, this phone is just so good and highly recommended. Obviously, there's also a smaller version of this, if you are aware, just a Pixel 6, just not Pro, which comes with majority of the things that come with this device, but it's in a smaller form factor and at a cheaper price tag. And obviously, if you don't look for something like a wireless charging, because I believe the non-Pro didn't have it, although I actually haven't checked it. I don't remember it from top of my head, to be perfectly honest, so I'm gonna quickly check it out. So right now checking it out, it actually looks like it does have also wireless charging, though a little bit slower. Right, let me make sure. Yep, just a little bit slower by like 2 watts. Whoop-de-doo. Obviously the display will be smaller at 6.4 inches, and instead of 1440p you're looking at 1080p display, and instead of 120 Hz you're looking at 90. In terms of just the comparison between just a 6 and a 6 Pro, this phone will be bigger and the display will be just better in every way, while the 6 will be a little bit better in terms of just like value for your money. It will be smaller battery obviously because of this, but other than that, if you don't mind sticking with max 90 Hz refresh rate, then the 6, just a standalone 6, might be actually a little bit better, considering it's more pocketable too. But if you want to have like just a really amazing display that isn't also flat, because this does have curved edges unlike the 6, then probably this will be the go-to for you. Obviously both of those phones are outstanding value for the money, and both are outstanding choice. It's really up to you which one you prefer. Smaller, more compact, or bigger, a little bit more expensive. So anyway, at the end of the day, I highly recommend this device. It is outstanding. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.